This is a clip from the Red Cow Arcade podcast.
I wanted to talk just briefly about the Clerks 3 trailer came out.
Oh, right, yeah.
Did you see it?
I did.
I think it looks really cute.
I think it looks cute.
And while I fully acknowledge that it's kind of by the books Kevin Smith, and it probably will have a lot of cringy humor in it because
I think it does the meta thing, and
and you know they already kind of did like the we're making Clerks and Zack and Miri, and so they're doing it again. But I actually think that as far as a concept goes, for like they left the quick stop, they're back at the quick stop. This is a pretty strong concept for aging, for taking control of your life, because the making of Clerks is as much the story of Clerks as the story of Clerks, you know, and so I think it's really appropriate. It looks fun. I think one of the things that because Kevin Smith is really Kevin Smithy, you know, and we all know this. Like he, as the years have gone on, as the pot has increased, you know, the extent to which we roll our eyes at Kevin has increased too. But I'm still a defender because, despite it all, I think it's like he never became. You know, he never directed blockbusters. He never won Oscars. He's just a guy trying to make the stuff that brings him joy.
Yeah, there is something very admirable about it, even if it doesn't always work for you.
Yeah,
I mean, Clerks it's indie film legend. You know, it's history. Like you should see Clerks. You'll probably watch it and be like, "Oh, this is like nothing special," but it was. It
invented it. Yeah,
it invented the thing. You know,
right.
I remember watching it, being like, "What is this?" It paved the way for so much more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's you know, I was gonna say, I think the thing that makes Clerks properties, like the animated series and the sequels now, special is Jeff Anderson, the guy who plays Randall.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not that strong in the first movie, as far as, you know, he does kind of come off like a friend from the area who you know ended up being the best option for them. but he's so funny in Clerks 2, and I think he's so funny in the animated series. He's got this kind of Bugs Bunny, you know, like he's the dumbest guy in the room, but he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, kind of a vibe to him. And that makes him funnier than, you know, whereas Jay and Silent Bob are like extremely stupid. And so he's always kind of outwitting them. And there's like a confidence that comes with, you know, this sort of like fraudulent confidence that comes with the character. And I think all of those qualities transcend Kevin's writing sometimes.
Yeah, I think so too. I remember when the Clerks TV show was on. I watched it live, and then I was always confused because it was my very early disappointments with cancellations where just like stuff would disappear. And,
I think the animated series is super funny. It's by the Dave Mandel. He's the guy who did some Seinfeld. He did Curb. He did quite a number of comedy TV series. But you know, they played My Own Worst Enemy in the trailer, which gives it that really 90s vibe, or that real, like, it felt like the promise of the trailer is we're going to bring you back to the 90s for an hour and a half. And that's pretty cute.
Yeah. You know, I haven't seen a lot of Kevin Smith's recent works. Nothing has screamed at me from any of the trailers, but I've always had a soft spot for Clerks, and Clerks 2 is good. I thought it was good.
Yoga Hosers is like the worst thing ever. I mean, it's like unforgivably like how could you have made this? It's so fucking bad. Like every accusation about like you're too stoned to be doing this, it like works in that. You know, I'm a Tusk defender. I actually think Tusk is cool. I think that Michael, what's his face? The old guy. Shoot, his name escapes me. But he's great in it, as he was in Red State. I think Red State is very good. I think Red State may be Kevin's best movie. You know, Cop Out, which he directed but didn't write, I think is very, very bad as well. I think it's like almost Yoga Hosers bad, almost. Yoga Hosers is worse. But Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. No, is that what? That's the podcast. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is very cute. but yeah, I think it's more of that kind of like just hang out with us. Like, look, we're all so much older now. Like that's really all that's going on there. But it's okay. I saw it live with an audience, and I think I'll probably do the same for Clerks 3 because he's taking it on the road and he's doing live Q&A and stuff. Last time Nina and I were able to get a sitter, and excuse me, we were able to stay in Boston, like in a fancy hotel and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'll probably do the same thing again here because seeing it with the fans is a different.
Yeah.
That's like that can make up like 40% of the movie right there.
Well, absolutely. When you have a good audience.
Yeah. And then he comes out and is like, "Aren't I great?" And everybody's like, "Yes." And then you go home and you're like, "Oh, isn't that great?" But it feels good in the moment. So yeah, I've watched the trailer quite a few times now, and I think Jeff Anderson's going to be really good. He as the story goes, he was always reluctant to do Clerks 2. They had to really, really rope him into Clerks 2. It was like a big challenge. And then supposedly the Weinsteins or Miramax or something, they never I guess his payday didn't work out or something. Like he really made very little money on these movies. And I think he's from his perspective, he's like, I'm trying to be like a private citizen here. Like I'm not like banking on being in movies. So if I'm going to do them, like I'd like to be paid, please. Like don't not.
Yeah. I don't know anything about this guy. So is he just like lives his life and does something else?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what he does professionally, but he doesn't live off of Clerks. That's for sure. And yet his whole life is Clerks because everywhere he goes, everybody recognizes him as Randall.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So he'd like to get paid when he does these sequels. And, so I guess when Clerks 3 came up, at least I'm reading between the lines based on podcasts and stuff, but it sounds like Jeff Anderson was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like after last time where I didn't get paid, like, fuck you. And so Kevin, I remember at the time, and I think this is before the Weinstein thing happened, before Harvey's big moment.
Big moment.
His big ride. Harvey's big ride. They wanted to do an audit, like a finance audit on Clerks 2 to be like, hey, how come there was never any surplus on that film? How come Jeff wasn't able to take advantage of some of the back end deals that we made with him? But also, Kevin had written a Clerks 3 around the time. So, like, when he came out with Red State, it was around the Too Fat to Fly situation. And he was like, I'm going to retire from filmmaking. And he said, I'm going to make one final film about hockey called Hit Somebody based on the song. And it's going to have everybody I've ever worked with in it. And he talked about it for a long time. And then out of nowhere, he was like, actually, it's going to be Clerks 3. And this is like 2011, 2010. Mm-hmm. This is like, he's like, it's going to be Clerks 3. And he's like, actually, Clerks 3 is going to be a stage play. And Hit Somebody's going to be my last movie. I'm going to quit filmmaking. I'm going to do podcast, stage plays, and various other eccentric activity. And then at some point he did Tusk. And then he threw out the whole retirement plan. And he decided to just get stoned and have fun. And now that he's had the heart attack, I think he's doubled down on that. But there was a script for Clerks 3 that was, according to him, dark and depressing. And Jeff, now that they've made a different film, Jeff, after his heart attack, he rewrote it from the top. Jeff Anderson was like, yeah, I think I can say now that we've made a better movie that like, it definitely didn't feel like Clerks. Like it didn't feel right. Felt like maybe Kevin was going through a dark time or something.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
They did
it doesn't seem like a dark, depressing Clerks would be a way to go.
I guess they did like a live reading of it somewhere or something. So somebody must know what this thing was about. If you're out there and you know what the original version of Clerks 3 was about, I'd love to hear it because I can't seem to find it on the internet easily.
Oh,
what was so dark and what was so depressing? What happened to Randall? Exactly.
To make him so sad.
What happened to Jay and Silent Bob?
What happened to make them sad?
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.